Welcome to Warrior Class.
where the teachers will pass.
And you will too if you pass.
All right. This is the episode where we were going to interview Milton about publishing, writing. We're still going to be doing about publishing, writing, but also film, television. But Milton is feeling under the weather, so he couldn't make it today. We'll bring him on at a later time. Hopefully, he feels better and recovers quickly. And
Feel better, Milton.
So today, what we're gonna do is deal with blacks in the media, but particularly film, television, books, and games. Okay, so we're gonna be dealing with blacks in the media. Is it a thing? Does it exist? How we being treated within those medias and being represented, and why we being represented or not represented. So we're going to deal with that today. Belay will be dealing with film, and we all may jump in on certain things. Ominique will be dealing with television. You know, they're both actors, so they do television and film. And I'll be dealing with books and games because I happen to write most of those. So we'll be dealing with those. If you have any questions, chime in. In the chat, we see greetings, comrade Kwame, Lucy, Yapo, Yapa. Yapo was the first person. They said, I refuse to use the term Afrofuturism coined by Martin Gary, a white man. I use theoretical Ebon or Eben fiction for my speculative fiction books and stories. I'm deeply looking forward to this discussion. We'll get to Afrofuturism in a little while. I was surprised when I learned that W.B. Du Bois wrote a TEF story called The Comet. After reading it, there is no denying that the movie Night of the Comet is based on it. He got no credit, of course. Of course not. Greetings, Comrade Kwame, Lucy, peace, following on Miniki and Belay, BPM, and Chitty Chat fam. Peace. Comrade Kwame, Ominiki looking amazing with the afro. Yes. Ominiki's got that afro. He like to take that off. His afro will be like that too. And I'm growing the afro out right now.
It would, but I slicked mine down so you can't tell it's really that big, but I keep it slick.
All power to the people, Ariadna Gladney. All power to the people. You're right. All right, so we're about to get into it. We got any news? Now I have.
Yeah. You got news too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, just in a little something of black achievements, not anything crazy, but Noah Lyles, I think, has just broken the American record in the 200. I think that happened this morning, or was that yesterday? I'm not sure. But that just happened. They just declared the monkeypox outbreak a global emergency. I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with that, but of course, it's the World Health Organization, so I don't know how much we can trust it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I've been eating a lot of bananas and flipping it around. You know, my back hurt. I've been flipping up and down and stuff in my house and eating a lot of bananas. So maybe it's true.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But no, they it was the Associated Press just commented that
Peace, Ryan.
The monkeypox has expanded. The outbreak is in more than 70 countries. An extraordinary situation that now qualifies as a global emergency. The declaration could spur further investment in treatment for the disease. So that's watch out for people that look like they got a severe case of shingles and chickenpox mixed together out there. You don't want to come in contact just in case.
Now, I've been noticing a big uptick in people getting tested for COVID lately too. It's going back up. So
yeah.
I would say also with the monkeypox thing, you know, be careful touching people, brushing up against people. At least people are a little bit more careful now because all the social distancing of the past couple of years. But yeah, watch when you're out at places and it's crowded. Like don't just be brushing up against people. or maybe just don't be in crowded places.
Right. Another thing, real quick, I just found out that you can get for free from the USCCA. I don't. What is that? The United States Concealed Carry Association. They have this black lawyer is promoting attorney and a Second Amendment advocate. His name is Coleon Noir. He's promoting this interactive concealed carry map that you can get. It's 100% free, and it's a little it's just a little thing about this big. I haven't seen it up close, but I was just looking at it. Just a little pamphlet like this, and it's constantly being updated online. So wherever you travel, you can know the laws about, how you should be carrying, where you can and perhaps cannot, and things of that nature. That can be coming real handy for somebody who travels a lot, from state to state and things of that nature. So again, that's the USCCA website, and it's called the Interactive Concealed Carry Map. And it's constantly being updated as we know the laws are constantly being changed and things of that nature. So I wanted to bring that up. One other thing, I try to stay on this topic kind of to just really advise people to just be watching themselves when they out. Another road rage situation happened. We talked about one last week. This one, this white guy, and he avoided arrest. I got to read this story. This is crazy. He avoided arrest. So, of course, I think this is in Atlanta. If it's not in Atlanta, it's definitely in Georgia. But it's not want to come up. But he road rage. He avoids arrest after shooting black woman 6 times. Let me try to go to this article real quick. I don't have all of a sudden. You see that right there? So, can everybody see us and hear us all right in there? It's saying that our signal is really low. So I just want to check if you guys can just respond back in the chat and let me know that we good to go.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can't pull up the information on that, but it just happened, I think, last Saturday. Yeah, it happened. But on the highway, shot in the back of a vehicle. They show the vehicle right here. It's got 6 shots in the back, and he avoided arrest some type of way. It was the miracle of
alabaster existence.
the miracle of what do they call it? Privilege. The miracle of privilege. I tell you, this is amazing.
Protection for protection. Yeah,
I'm telling you. That's another thing, not in the news, but I just got this today. I don't know if we ever talked about this on the show. We don't promote the item names.
Well, on Remix Morning Show, we were teaching to use those.
Okay. So this is what they call a pocket shot, y'all. It is made by Cold Steel. I guess I gotta, until they come sponsors, I'll go ahead and promote it for right now. Because it's a good product. It really is. I don't know anybody else that do the things that Cold Steel does at the kind of quality they have. But if you look at this, it's a marker. But it's made of polymer. It's really, really strong. I don't know if I don't think it's Kevlar, but it's some type of polymer. Isn't about. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Yes,
but it's really polymer. Yeah, it's really, really strong. Definitely something that it's made to be a tool. It's a pen, as you can take it off. Takes a minute to unscrew. Is really, really secure, but it is a pen, a little felt tip, like sharp, like Sharpie a little bit. But this right here could definitely, could do something. But as a blunt object, this is really strong. Don't have to worry about any metal to take. Just keep it just like just like that right there, and we good to go. And it's really good. Got a lot of pommel. No matter how big your hand is, it's always got a little pommel right there. So this is really good. We may go into showing how to use this in one of our warrior classes coming up. But as you can see, and you got some type of inclination of how this thing works right here. The soft spots do a lot of damage with something like this without doing any without a lot of blood and stuff, really get somebody off of you. So this is a good tool. I ordered 2 of them. I got one for my daughter because she just went out of town on a band trip. And I'm like, dang, I can't tell her to take a knife. I want to tell her to take a knife, but I can't tell her to take a knife. If she take a knife, I wouldn't be mad, but I can't tell her. So I got her one of these, told her to make sure she kept it with her, along with some pencils, the pens in her pocket, something, like that. Do what you can, people. That's all I want to promote.
On the planes, Big Till says she use their Kubotan. Kubotans, they don't allow that on planes, but you can take the pocket shark. You might want to sand paper off where it says pocket shark on there.
Right, because as people know, they'll be like,
Right, it's just a marker. I've carried it on planes, and I've had it in my pocket.
Yeah.
You go and you put it in the thing it goes through, and I put it right back. Get on the plane with no problem with that. Tactical pens, you can't. They know the tactical pens, that's marked already, but you can still with pocket sharks get on the plane.
Right. And the last thing, I know everybody noticed, all of Black people, we always have these inclinations, conspiracies. We know them naturally. But it was just a hearing. Google just had a hearing. I don't know if anybody saw that, where they were asking them, does Google collect your data? Y'all should pull that up on YouTube, whatever. Google, they tried to slither out of it, but there's no way they had to admit that they collect. If you move, the guy asked him, if I move from this seat, talking to her, and move to that seat right there and start talking to that guy, does Google know? And the guy was like, well, if depending on the settings on your phone, what? Depending on the settings of your phone?
Wow.
Google knows. You change your seat in a public place and Google know. That's how technical and oh my goodness.
I don't even think it has to be a public place.
Put your phone on airplane mode as much as possible. Cover your lenses in your I don't want to start sounding like conspiracy nut. So just I don't want to say Google but pull up that hearing, and you'd be very surprised on exactly the extent of what they can do.
Prince is called a pocket shark. Pocket shark. Dr. Boss, what would Stone Cold Carter do with the pocket shark? Kill ninjas.
Always. That's all he do with everything. It don't matter what you give him, he kill ninjas with it.
He hates ninjas. I'm actually working on the novel for Ice Cold Carter. Ice Cold Carter. I said Stone Cold Carter for some reason, but Ice Cold Carter. Ice Cold Carter novel, and I'm doing the Ice Cold Carter game, the third game for Ice Cold Carter. But in the novel, plenty of ninjas, and you'll find the different types of ninjas. You got your robot ninjas, your zombie ninjas, and it's actually ninja plural, but Ice Cold Carter said ninjas.
And I'm actually going to be method acting, and I'm going to be in the character of Ice Cold Carter for the next year and a half. So if you see me and I'm acting a little strange, you probably don't want to approach me when I got the shades on and everything. So just in case y'all see me out there. All right.
So
shout out to our brother Ryan Timms. He's checked in on the chat.
Oh yeah, man. We appreciate you, Ryan. Great show, man.
Dr. Boss said we need Ominiki and her fro to be the new symbol for Black Power. we should get almost soon Flux to draw you as that new symbol. That'd be dope.
We surely should.
Now,
I love when we
the news that I have, it's not there's an author that some of you may know. She's well known within the Black Speculative Fiction community, but Valjean Jeffers. Valjean Jeffers died 2 days ago. So shout out to her family, and may she continue to rest in power.
Rest in power.
Peace be upon her.
All right.
Peace, Lucy.
We're about to get into it. With the questions, I would like to, I guess, first ask, since Ominiki is the topic with that dope afro, what interested you in acting?
Wow. I started acting in. Okay, I do not want to give a long answer on this, but I used to and still do sometimes write, but I grew up writing, and that was always something I was very interested in. I was a smart student, but I was not always a good student. So I didn't like to do big projects. So during class, I would write whatever we had a project on or whatever I was supposed to do my project on, I would write a play. And I would give the play out to some of the other students in class. And then after everyone else presented their projects at the end of class, we would do my play.
Wow.
And I had like some teachers that were really down with that. So I gotta give them credit. And along the way, once I got to high school and I was still writing, I discovered acting and I started doing theater in high school. And then once I got out of high school, I majored in film in college, and I got hooked up with some people in Atlanta who were doing like independent small film projects. And I did, acting here and there in those, took some acting classes, and that's basically how it started.
What about you, B-Lay?
I was born with a gift. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh boy. Here we go.
And this I'm gonna do a very short answer, but I just want to say something because it's funny how things connect. The last couple of week or so, I've been doing this audience. I just been audience member of the Family Feud. People don't know, but those game shows that you buy tickets for, they also give away tickets at radio stations and different things. But you can also sign up, and they will hire you to be in the audience. So, but you just don't get good seats. I had to sit in the back. The camera don't see me, but I'm getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. But the reason I'm saying that is it's just a little hack. Little small stuff you can do to start getting. And once you're on that set, you're still on a studio set. So you had an opportunity. Once you get on the set, you always have an opportunity to do other things. I just wanted to mention real quick. Steve Harvey is sometimes, it depends on your type of humor that you like. He can be very funny, and he can be very ignorant at the same time. I don't know how a lot of people feel about. I don't watch him and really listen to him a lot, but he does say some good stuff sometimes. And one of the things he said about the question about how to get on, he was like, yo, pursue your gift and not your passion, unless they the same thing. And I was like, I'm thinking about it, because you want to do what you want to do. It's just your nature. I want to sing. I want to sing. Listen, I want to sing. But I mean, wait a minute, I can sing. But no, seriously though, you may want to do something, but is that your gift? Because you could be wasting a lot of time. So I'm saying all that to say, I was thinking about it, and Baba know how I really got into it. Y'all do, but I just recently got into acting. But I always did it. I got into drama, back in junior high. You ran out of electives and you got stuck in a class because all the good stuff was taken. So now nothing ain't left but drama. God dang. You gotta take drama. So I'm in drama, the only black dude, and I ended up liking it. But I couldn't get back in it after the first year because it was really a demanded class I didn't know about it. But the first year it came to our junior high, nobody knew about it, so it was the only thing left, so I got into it. But I did a couple plays, I did some acting. I always used to make up stuff in my head and act it out. You know what I'm saying? While I'm washing dishes, I would make up soap operas in my head and be every character. And I'm just freestyling, making up these stories. And fast forward to 30 years later, Baba tells me one day, Baba was like, you should get into acting. And I was like, okay, let me try it. And I went online, and the first thing that I applied for, I got it. And the second thing I applied for, I got it. And then I got something else, and it's like, it chose me. You know what I'm saying? After that, once I got into, I lied. I'm gonna tell y'all, I lied. I went to on Facebook and where it says acting, speaking roles. I lied and said I did speaking roles, but technically I didn't lie. I did speaking roles. It just was in high school. You didn't ask me when. So once I auditioned, I got it. After I did it, I told them I really didn't have any experience. They wouldn't believe me. And they hired me to do another one. Then I pitched my own story and they let me write it. Me and Amaniki put it in the screenplay because they was gonna get somebody else to do that. Baba showed us how to do the screenplay, pitched it to them, and now we'll be shooting that in October. Production company with a budget and all that. It just kind of came, you know what I'm saying? And now I want to challenge myself and just do it because I can. So long answer. I thought it was gonna be short.
Somebody asked. They asked, have you ever played a Klingon on Star Trek Enterprise? They're tricky. You must have thought they saw you.
I was a Klingon in real life. What are you talking about?
My wife would call me a Klingon because I'd be clinging on to her. So hey, I'm a Klingon.
So how about you,
Barbara? Well, me, as far as acting, you know, I did some acting when I was here. I'm in a couple of martial arts films.
If y'all don't know, Bob is the man of all trades. He's the real ice cold Carter.
But I'm, you know, as far as writing goes, I started reading that too. Okay, shout out to my sisters who.
He always rubbing in his excellence, man. Golly.
I became their project. They said they wanted to see if they could get me to read that too by giving me comic books, so I could look at the comics, the pictures, and then sound out the words and figure out what it meant. And if it was too much, they would tell me the word, but then they'd also, I got to write the word out. So that's how I learned to write down, right? So I was heavy in the comic books. My mother was heavy in the science fiction. And so I would sit and watch stuff with her, particularly the Wild Wild West television show, not the whack movie by Will Smith. And I would sit with her and watch that and Get Smart with her too, that she was really into. So I would sit and watch the Wild Wild West. And I said, one day I'm going to write something like that, but it's going to have a black hero. Okay. And that was the thing, but I was always, okay, one day I'm going to do that. That was always in the back of my mind. The first book I wrote was a nonfiction book. You know, but after that, then I wrote, and I've been writing film. So I've been writing screenplays. I went to Columbia College which is a school of the arts in Chicago. My major was film with a concentration in screenwriting. So I was always writing. I took a bunch of writing classes. So I had to do science fiction writing classes, classical writing classes, and all kinds of writing. Right up my wheelhouse. Right? So I was writing all the time in college, but I was already writing plays and stuff through elementary school. I went to the military, took a break for a little while, but then I decided to write. I wanted to, Luke Cage was pretty much dead. So I wanted to revive Luke Cage. So I wrote a miniseries with Luke Cage. I sent it to Marvel like a fool. Because in those days, you couldn't do no independent writing anyway, and that's their character. So like a fool, I sent it to them. They wrote me back, said, Luke Cage is not a viable character. We can't do nothing with Luke Cage. 6 months later, they brought out the book exactly how it's a 4-issue limited series, exactly how I wrote it, except they changed the names.
Story of America.
There was nothing I could do. So they stole it, but they let me know I have a talent because I wasn't sure. You know, I mean, they told me all through college I was the top writer at Columbia, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't sure. Then in that, you know, in speculative fiction, science fiction, fantasy, horror. And when they told me that, I said, well, I have the talent that I thought I had. And that's when I get out the military, I'm going to get serious about it. I was in a poetry group here in Atlanta. and I wanted to write fiction. I gave the head of the poetry group.
Oh, poetry. Okay.
I gave him my one of my. I was writing this book. I gave it to him the first 3 chapters. He said, "Man, it's good, but you don't mess with that fiction stuff. And you Black, don't mess with it, because when you write fiction, you get caught in that world." Really, I didn't realize he had a strong jealousy of me, envy. Not jealousy. He wasn't in love about it. He was envious, and so he was like, "You're writing poetry, man, and you know, maybe some nonfiction, but don't do fiction, cause you get caught in that world, and you know, you lose your mind." I said, "Oh, okay." I'm trusting him, but I'm like, I know several writers ain't lost their minds, and they're writing fiction, and they create their own worlds, and you know, I said, "Okay, well, damn, that goes against all I was taught in school, but I trust him." You know, yeah, well, I learned better. You know, a couple years later, like, damn that. Especially since he was writing speculative fiction, I read his shit was garbage. Yeah,
he got jealous, Bob. You shouldn't have told him you started reading at 2 years old. Stuff like that is why he got jealous. Stuff like that.
Well, he was. It's a whole long thing I have to tell you about him. But he was. His wife was like, you know, this is the next Matrix that he wrote. I read that shit. Man, get that shit out of here. It's some garbage. So, my sister paid for me to go, and I am going to do it. It's a long story to how I ended up doing writing fiction. I had already written, like I said, the nonfiction book, but the fiction is where, now I'll talk about fiction versus nonfiction when it comes to the revolutionary mindset, how fiction actually is stronger. However, I'll get to that in a minute, because that's going to shake folk up. But because, you know, in especially in the world of where people consider themselves conscious or revolutionary, nonfiction is the order of the day. That's how a lot of information has been delivered. But that's not how.
We talk about that on one of our shows, Bob.
Right, and that's not historically though how information has been delivered. It's been delivered through stories,
right,
through fiction, but it's not through nonfiction. Nonfiction is powerful. Fiction is more powerful, but I'll get to that. But anyway, so I'm, damn, I forgot what I was about to talk about. But anyway, I ended up, after being told I shouldn't write and all that, you know, more break. And then, my sister paid for me to go to a writer's retreat, Black Writers Retreat. I said, okay. I'm kind of nervous because I'm like, man, you know, probably be these great writers in there. I walk in there, 90% of them writing street lit, or getting it ghost written or whatever. Street lit is garbage. Street lit publishers will tell you your stuff is written too well. It's too well edited. It's too highbrow, and so they will reject your stuff because it's too good. They don't want your stuff to be too polished and street lit. So people, I'm looking at all this stuff, and it's mostly street lit at this event. Now, if Nandi, I know she watches the show sometimes. She's watching. She was there. She was selling her book, I think, Book of Affirmations or something. So, and yes, I know Charles Saunders' manifesto. So, knew him. He, transitioned last year. So, I went to this event, and these writers suck, because they still out there writing. Not sucked, they suck. And I said to myself, if they can write a book and stand up here and be confident about it and teach a workshop on writing, God damn it, I can write the novel that I should have written a long time ago. I went home. It was a 3-day retreat. After the retreat, I went home and started that night writing Moses, the Chronicles of Harriet Tubman. I told you when I was a little boy, I told my mother I'm going to write something like the Wild Wild West, but with Black people. And Harriet Tubman is an idol of mine, probably the largest idol of mine. And so she, to me, is the textbook picture. It's two people. She is the textbook of what a warrior is. That second one, besides my father, that second person is Dhoruba bin Wahid. And people who know me know that those two, right? So, and he told me one time I need to write a speculative book about the BLA, about what was happening in the 60s. And that is something I've been working on slowly because it's a challenge. But I want to get it right. So I wrote Moses, the Chronicles of Harriet Tubman, because I knew, man, if those people can competently write novels and it's straight trash, I can write a novel. And I did it. I wrote it. People are like, man, how many years? Years, it took me 30 days. And that became a bestseller. It took me 30 days. It doesn't take you that long to write. Not us. And not if you're creative in the first place. So that's my long answer to that short. Sorry about that. But that's how. All right.
Hey, we want to know. We got some questions in the chat here. Most people don't chase their dreams. Capitalist machines, very privileged few can work in the industry you want.
Yes. Franny Prince said mediocrity is awarded in the world of published fiction. Yes, so it is, and that's why, see, independent fiction, when we began to be able to, independent writers, we began to be able to self-publish, that destroyed the big publishers, really. All that gatekeeping and them being able to decide what should be out here, that kicked them in the nuts. It brought them to their knees.
Is this a Yapo? I'm sorry.
That's Yapo. Yes, Yapo.
Yapo. Is anyone on the panel? Do you have a favorite sci-fi author who is not Octavia Butler? I love Octavia Butler. Also, in full disclosure. Okay.
So
that wasn't me. Let
me say this. Well, one, just so you know, Yapo, we're not really a panel. We do this show together. Every week.
I had to read down. I thought they had a panel in the chat. I was like, they got a panel put together? I was like, oh, they talking about this. Okay.
They're wrong with it. No, so favorite author of speculative fiction, as far as science fiction, fantasy, I got a name who's not Octavia Butler. I got a name 3 or 4. That's my whole wheelhouse. Number 1, me. I'm my most favorite, because damn, you don't love yourself, who else gonna love you? Me.
We love you, Bobby. You my
I've
number one.
I've written 42 books, and just in case you didn't know.
How many Octavia Butler wrote?
All of them not. I think 8. All of them not science fiction fantasy. Now, I had a discussion with somebody else from Black Speculative Media. They mentioned Octavia Butler. They said because she's the best writer of science fiction, Black writer of science fiction in the world. No, I love Octavia Butler, but no, she's not the best writer of science fiction and fantasy in the world. She's the one that people know. When you say, because we really, and I'll tell you why we didn't get involved in science fiction and fantasy so much, but we don't know much, so we'll just say her. Because that's who we know. Yeah, it's her. No, she's not but she's great now.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to read Octavia Butler stuff. I had all her books, and I tried, and I couldn't get into it. And I just forced myself to read this stuff, to be honest. But as I read, I realized, okay, yeah, she can throw down. Now, my favorite, besides myself, and when we talk about the great, and I wrote an article, you can find out the great Black authors of science fiction and fantasy. It's on Chronicles of Harriet.com, but it's been used all over the place. Okay, copy, use, whatever. So for me, Charles Saunders that was mentioned in there. Our manifesto said, "Think I know Charles Sanders?" Yes, very well. If you read Once Upon a Time in Africa, a novel that MVmedia, which is Milton Davis's publishing company, brought out, I wrote that. Charles did the forward in that, and he did the forward in me and Milton's game, Kikanga, Sword and Soul role playing game. Okay, so Charles Sanders for me, not because of that, but he's for me number one because Charles Sanders, he started Sword and Soul, which is like sword and sorcery, but from an African lens. Okay, Charles Sanders, when I was in high school, Dragon Magazine number 22 it's called, the cover is called Out of Africa. He wrote an article in there about the creatures from Africa can be used in Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody had ever done that. And I'm reading it, and oh man, this is excellent. Then another writer, Roger Moore, came in and wrote the stats for Dungeons and Dragons of the creatures that Charles Sanders had written. When I read what Charles Sanders wrote about that and how he wrote, I said, man, this white man got it right. I didn't know it was. I thought I was the only black person out writing that kind of shit. And I told him that, he laughed. I said, man, I was like, this white man got it right. I gotta give it to this white man. He did his research. Charles Sanders is black, by the way. He was living in Nova Scotia. He transitioned last year or earlier this year. I think it was actually December last year. Do I know of David Durham? I know David Durham too. Yes, I manifesto. So it's Charles Sanders, Milton Davis. Okay, we're talking about my favorite authors. There's so many that I'm into as far as science fiction and fantasy. It's hard to put.
We'll say 5. So we'll say 5, not counting yourself.
Not counting myself. Okay. Charles Sanders, Milton Davis, Valjean Jeffers, who just transitioned, who also edited Moses and Chronicles of Harriet Tubman for me, and I believe she did Once Upon a Time in Africa too. So Valjean Jeffers, Charles Sanders, Milton Davis. No, this so we're getting that 4 and 5.
I'm saying the white man, Bob. If you got a white guy,
so number one, I'm talking about Black Speculative Fiction. No, there's a point to that. I don't believe a white person can write Black Speculative Fiction. They can write.
I don't believe they should. I don't believe they should write Black Speculative.
They can write speculative fiction with a black person in it.
Right.
Writing Black Speculative Fiction, there's a rhythm and everything to it. Okay. So I would say Nadia Corforce. I'm trying to use people that's not, because that's another person that if they don't say Octavia Butler, they say Nadia Corforce, but Nadia Corforce, somebody said, and Walter Mosley, yes. Walter Mosley is great. Some people think he just writes mysteries and everything, but he writes speculative fiction. I love all his writing. So yes, so those are the 5. But I may do a list because there are so many. But once again, you can look, if you look at chroniclesofharriet.com, you'll find them in their Great Black Authors of Science Fiction and Fantasy. Now, I manifesto, you said Tim Fielder. Let me say this here. Tim Fielder feels I have a problem with him. I do have one problem, and I'm going to be 100 about it. Tim Fielder named his company Diesel Funk.
Oh boy.
Diesel Funk. Now he did that. I create, and so I got a call about Planet Black South to be a speaker in Planet Black South. He said, we want you to speak on steampunk and and then the founders want the founders to speak on the stuff they have. So you're one of the founders of steampunk. We want you to speak. Tim's going to speak on diesel punk. I said, hold on. You said the founders. Now, I am known as the one who coined the term diesel funk. I wrote the first diesel funk book, which is The Scythe. And then he took that term, used it for his comic book, which I won't name, and then he used it for his company. So if Tim is watching, or people who know Tim, I got to be realistic about that. That was wrong, Tim, and you didn't speak to me, and so you're wrong, and I have to say that because he has said to other people he thinks I have a problem with him. The problem I had is you took what I created, and you act like you created it, and you did not. Now,
come clean, Tim. Come clean, Tim. Come clean, Tim. You took
Tim knows. But I'm glad you're getting success off of that. But no, you know where you got that name from, Tim. So don't act like you founded that. Don't act like you're the founder of steampunk. I'm sorry, but that one has been bothering me for years. And so when his name just came up there, like,
you triggered him.
Yeah, you triggered me on that one, I manifesto. Because people have been taken from me and Milton, and when we do work together, especially for a long time.
Yeah, man, that's another thing, boy.
Witcher, people talk about, did you watch The Witcher? The Witcher could kiss my ass. No, I didn't watch it. Because The Witcher stole several characters from me and Milton, from Kikanga, our role-playing game, and used it for their video game.
Yeah. So much thievery in the literary scene and in the martial arts scene.
He named Tim, my eyes just like start twitching. It may have, So I don't like.
You named your favorite. You named your favorites, Baba. Which ones would you say your inspirations?
My inspiration, Charles Saunders. Charles Saunders, as far as inspirations go.
I would like to ask.
Now, as far as acting, I've always wanted to be an actor. Really, when I see somebody like Denzel, he's great, but Denzel is always Denzel no matter what he acting in. He ain't changing his voice. He ain't changing that, doing his mouth all funny and everything. Denzel is Denzel. He just does.
Women do not call that when they're referring. Excuse me, Bob. I do not want to interrupt you, but when he's doing that, that's not what women call it. It's not what we think of moving his mouth all funny. I just want to.
I'm sure y'all know women love Denzel, but and stuttering. If a man other than Denzel came up to a woman doing that thing in his mouth and stuttering, like
crackhead, get out my face.
Get out of here! Talking to me, get out of here! Ugh.
Mouth all locked up.
But Denzel, because he's been out there, he's famous and done some great work. People love him. Okay, so, but we know Denzel, and when comedians do a good Denzel, they doing all that crazy movement he does and all that. Right? But that I think that's the kind of acting I like to put in, but to be able to change my voice and stuff like that. Everybody tells me I'm terrible at changing my voice anyway, so I might as well do like Denzel.
That is not true. You change your voice very well. I don't know who told you that shit. You sound like everybody you ever talked to.
You see, I can both ask me to do a Haitian accent because my Haitian.
Oh no, your accents might kind of suck a little bit. Your accents might suck a little bit. Your foreign accents, but as far as how you can talk like somebody else, shit.
I can do that like an American. Yes, like Samuel L. Jackson, his entire acting method is changing hairstyles, yes, and then acting exactly the same. Exactly. But Sam, I love Sam too, but he ain't changing nothing exactly. At least he changes hair. Denzel will sometimes. He'll go bald head, for Malcolm.
Yeah,
He died.
Denzel will change it. You
died
gain weight.
He had Malcolm X sounding like he was from the Bronx, like goddamn Denzel is. He didn't have him sounding no different.
Denzel was from Mount Vernon.
Denzel? I thought he's from the Bronx. Okay, well, he might be from Mount
Yeah,
Vernon.
he don't like no Bronx dude.
I normally
Let's go. He looks soft. Let's go.
For you, I ain't saying he saw with the Bronx is kind of extra. You got to have a scar on your face or something at that age. I don't know.
Let's go.
So for you, because I know you write too. So did you have any inspirations in writing and then acting?
I would say as far as, and this, I don't think that this is considered a Black speculative fiction author, though she did do fiction. But Toni Morrison was a big inspiration to me when I started reading her books and her writing. I thought it was beautiful.
What's one of her popular books? Because I have no idea who
The Bluest.
Oh no,
The Bluest Eye.
Yeah,
it was the first book that I read by her. It's about Pecola breed love. I'm sure someone's probably read it and is familiar. And she has a bunch of other books. And I mean, I've read Toni. I'm sorry, not Toni Morrison. Excuse me. Octavia Butler. She's definitely great to me as well. Baba writes fantastic books. And I'll say, as far as acting goes, like actors who've inspired me. That's what you're asking.
I can see what the wheels turn. She's like, damn, I can't say no white folks.
Say white folks.
Cool. I'm not gonna say no white folks on here. No, thank
I'm gonna say some white folks.
I got some.
Nah, y'all scared.
Bianca from Mars.
From Golden Girls. As far as acting goes, I would say first and foremost, I think as far as someone who I saw myself in, Angela Bassett. Because I don't know if y'all can see my arms, but when I was young, like 12, 13, when I was much, about
you were
12,
a child.
About 12, 13 years ago when I was 12 or 13. Add that up. I was muscular. I had muscular arms and stuff, and that's not commonplace among 12-year-old girls. So seeing Angela Bassett and seeing her like What's Love Got to Do with It, and the way that she strutted around, and her confidence, like that really spoke to me at the time. So that she's definitely someone who I was inspired by, and of course she's amazing, and actually when she does her thing, but the look of her was the first thing that I just loved and still love. As far as other actors, Jeffrey Wright, I think is an amazing actor. I definitely remember the very first time that I saw him. And it wasn't in it was in Shaft, the Shaft reboot. I was like, who is this? Yeah, people. Right. He always take care of his peoples. Oh, I'm like spinning. So I thought he was great. Of course, Don Cheadle, first time, Devil in a Blue Dress. He was amazing. And
that's a book by Walter Mosley too, Devil in a Blue Dress.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There's probably a few others. I wish I had really thought so I could sit down and list them. Of course, Viola Davis has been amazing, but there's also another woman, and I cannot remember her name. But if anyone watched First Ladies, she actually played Viola Davis's mother on First Ladies. And I remember for years seeing her and Viola Davis. That woman used to be on this show called I'll Fly Away.
Is that the lady that we seen crying at the funeral?
Right.
Okay.
She was a fantastic actress, and
she was in something else. What was? God, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But she's been she was in something else. She played Denzel's wife once or twice in a few movies or whatever. Yeah. But to me, she never really got her just due. She never got it. And I think that's probably why, because Viola Davis was one of the producers of The First Lady. I think that's why she cast her as her mother, because she never got to get the shine that she should have, as talented as she was.
So she was casting that shit.
I Manifesto said Angela Bassett complimented him on his hair. You got locks, I Manifesto, or a real good perm or something?
Ooh, that is so silky, baby.
Curly stuff.
Woo.
Now somebody said
laid.
Megan Good. I know Megan Good didn't play Viola Davis's mom.
No. I'll look it up.
But she's definitely an inspiration of mine.
I would say the last. I think this is the last person who I was, when I saw them on screen for the first time, that I was amazed was Lupita Nyong'o. Now, there's a movie I'm sure
I seen her in person. I was amazed.
I'm sure lots of people haven't seen 12 Years a Slave. At the time when that movie came out, I was not opposed to seeing a movie like that, because I knew some of the background. I guess the people who had produced and directed the movie, so I was interested because I liked the director. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, who? And Denai Guerrero too. She's not in that movie, but she was in this movie called The Visitor, and I was just blown away.
She's an inspiration for me too, Denai Guerrero. Yes.
That's Michonne from.
I know exactly.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't. But yeah, Lupita, she is a very talented actress. If you see her in some of her smaller roles, she produced a movie herself called
Regina Taylor.
It's a movie about chess. The Queen of Catway. You can watch that with your children. It's a beautiful movie.
Listen,
Regina Taylor is the woman who played her mother.
Forget all that.
Regina Taylor, yes. Thank you so much, Fanny French.
I was on the set of Black Panther 2. The funeral scene. I was somber. It was very sad because bruh's really passed. And the funeral scene, a lot of the actors are really like feeling it. You can see it in their face. People are crying. People that was on the set that's close to them. So Lupita came, right? I'm sorry, because it's going from somber to something else. But she came on the Huh?
She's also an author.
Oh, I thought you said an anomaly. I was going to say, I don't know, maybe, but
she's an anomaly too.
She came on the set. It's the first time I ever seen her live. She was standing beside me and looking at the funeral scene, but she had on regular clothes. And this is the first time I saw her live. Lord, let me just tell y'all this. This woman is beautiful. I'm talking, I'm a Nikki beautiful. I'm talking.
That was a good physically. That was a good.
She's a.
No, it wasn't, Baba.
No, listen. I'm just saying she's a very physically fit woman that you may not know how physically fit she is until you see her in person. So that's all I'm saying. Okay, so anyway.
Right now, what's your inspiration besides Lupita
Nyong'o? Beautiful actress.
Excuse me, what?
Besides Lupita Nyong'o, what's your?
Besides Lupita, wow. Okay, so all right. So it's funny because listening to y'all, as far as especially, I'm not a writer, so they're not inspirations. Even though Bob was an inspiration and makes me want to write, so I am going to put out a book, and it's because of Bob. Motivate me. So, but anyway, seriously, and that's true. But as far as acting, man, it's a little different for me because it may not be the greatest acting that inspired me, but the faces, like seeing Eddie Murphy inspired me because he looked like a nigga on TV. And I'd never seen that. For me, I'm just saying, I'd never seen a person that looked like my cousin talk like he's not talking. He doesn't sound like Sidney Poitier. It's like a nigga. You see what I'm saying? Like I couldn't relate to Sidney Poitier. I'm just being honest.
That's what's up.
You could not.
I saw Eddie Murphy. I saw Eddie Murphy. I was like, this is a nigga.
Watch them first.
And
That
just
Bell from Beverly Hills.
right,
Cop,
and he's just being what he is. You know what I'm
48
saying?
hours.
Right, exactly.
Right, yes.
Like 48 hours trading places. Those the movies were way better than his acting was, but just him doing that was amazing to me. So that was like the first, like, it's a regular person kind of acting. You know what I'm saying? It went from him to of course Denzel, but believe it or not, it was somebody like Bokeem Woodbine. Woodbine. I'm sorry, excuse me. Bokeem Woodbine. Another.
Really? Hey, no shade to Bokeem Woodbine, but
listen, if you guys get a chance to watch, Fargo.
He is great in Fargo.
He is great.
Yeah, he is excellent in Queen and Slim. If anyone's seen that, you might have issues with the movie.
He's gotten older, he's gotten better.
Yeah, he's got. Like I'm saying, it wasn't the acting.
From all the 80s, black, you getting killed in South Central movies, and boy.
You're right. It wasn't the acting. It was him being regular. That really that I saw. It's like I saw a regular person when dude the movie Strapped and the guy from Onyx did it. Mm-hmm. Fredro actually did a good job in that.
Yeah, good and Sticky too.
When I saw Fredro, yeah, hey, he seems he beat out Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White was in the hallway with his shirt off, but
that was crazy. Michael Jai White came off like he was a nut doing that.
They knew something was wrong. He didn't get the spot. He can't work with him. But it was people like that actually really influenced me, and seeing them.
Oh, now I mean, the person said the lead in Nope. That's Daniel Kaluuya. He's great too.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Black Panther. Daniel Kaluuya. He played Fred Hampton in
Right.
Oh yeah, people used to. All right, I know that guy. I know that. Okay.
You know.
He's up and coming.
Ivy Hayes in Escape from New York was hilarious. I know you. You snake. I heard of you. Heard you were dead. How did I forget to meet Keith David? Now that I love Keith David as an actor.
Yeah. But yeah, and I definitely say, you know who else? It's funny, but I have to go like Malcolm Jamal Warner. I know that sounds crazy, but again, Malcolm Jamal Warner, when he got his own show, I'm like, this nigga can't really act. I'm older now, and I'm like, yo, how they? And I'm looking at the show he got with Eddie Griffin.
Yes.
Them Cosby connections.
And I'm like, man, I could write a sitcom. I was just about to say that inspired me more than writing.
I can see.
That's like Papa is when he talked about how he saw the different authors that had that confidence.
I got you. Yeah.
I could write a sitcom, man. I could write a sitcom. And stuff like that. Seeing Atlanta was inspirational. Now that was inspirational for all different reasons. All the acting was like, these are regular looking dudes that are on a very high level as far as their acting skills. You know what I'm saying? But they look regular, but they transcendent. You know what I'm saying? With what they're doing, and then the stories. I was like, yo, I want to write and act like that. That's what I want to do. I want to write some shit like that.
So in film and television, part of the skill is to look normal.
Right.
Right. Plays is different.
Right.
Because I went from doing films to doing plays. I did, 2 Trains Running by August Wilson. I played Mr. West. And in that, I got it off the monologue I did. I did a monologue of a long poem that I wrote called The Good Ship Jesus. And, but as I'm doing it, as we're rehearsing, I'm doing it low key, acting like I would in film. Yeah, no, just little subtleties that they're supposed to catch. Yeah, no,
Right.
you got to be bigger because the audience has to see everything. That's why great film actors would do stage because it's a whole different medium, really. And so they're training a different skill. It's like a sprinter running in a marathon. It's different muscles that you're using.
I just want to say too, real quick, man. TV wise, with because like I said, we had to come up with the show kind of quick. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have time to think of a lot of this shit. But sitting here, think one of the most inspirational shows for me before Atlanta that really made me think about this thing was The Wire. And if you go back, because Michael, what's his name? The dude that played
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael. You go back to him. It's so many people that was on that.
Wallace on The Wire.
Yeah, it was some actors all through there, man. It came through too.
Michael K. Williams,
the guy that actually did the show, that directed it.
Good too.
Right, the guy that did the show, he's actually from Wilmington, North Carolina. The guy that directed it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I started paying attention. Some of my friends were background in it. So that I grew up with. So I started watching it for that. And when I saw like how real it looked, that's what really, I've never seen like that grit, that real, like hit that hard. You know, the stories, how they connected and everything. That really inspired me as far as story writing, acting as a package. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to get that out.
And I have one other thing also. That Lupita was not the last performance that I saw that inspired me, because that was quite a few years
ago. Was my last.
The most recent black actor that I would say is Jonathan Majors, and I can't believe that I.
He said, "Try to come back and name a guy because he said, well, we're funny, boy."
I cannot believe that I forgot to mention him. I mean, I think he is amazing. I saw him in The Last Black Man in San Francisco at first, and I was like, who is that? He's got something. And recently, at the end of last year, I did background for Creed 3. And he was there on the set. And if I could have gotten anywhere near him, I would have, told him something about how inspiring he has been to me every single role that I see him play.
He did Lovecraft Country. You know who Jonathan Majors is?
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah. He looks cool.
And he played Nate Love in that Black Western.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Did he do something?
Yeah, he was he's Kang.
Yeah. He was Kang.
Right.
And, yes, Kang and which one? Loki.
Loki, right.
Franny Prince said Candy Alexander. Yeah, Candy Alexander can act your ass off too. Oh boy. Now
sweet. So
I got one.
Okay.
Atlanta's been characterized as a center for Afrofuturism. This is when we're getting into it, right? Can you talk a little bit about the local community of black actors and producers that do science fiction and fantasy? And that includes superheroes. I know y'all work on superhero shows. Do you feel like you are part of a movement? So Afrofuturism, for those who don't know, Afrofuturism was coined by this white gentleman, Mark Derry, in 93, I believe it is. And it says, he said, this is what he calls Afrofuturism. He first wrote about it in this article that he did called Black to the Future. He says, speculative fiction that treats African-American themes and addresses African-American concerns in the context of 20th century technoculture, and more generally, African-American signification that appropriates images of technology in a prosthetically enhanced future might, for want of a better term, be called Afrofuturism. Okay, so that was what he used. Basically, try to figure out, why aren't more black people, because it seems to fit us. Why don't we write or read more science fiction? specifically, and fantasy. People have added fantasy to Afrofuturism as a term now to just describe Black speculative fiction. Number one, with the name futurism in it, really stuff from the past as far as Sword and Soul, diesel punk, steampunk. Those really wouldn't fit in there because they're not dealing with the future. And really, all writing, whether it's past, present, or future, is dealing with present conditions if it's going to relate to people. So you're dealing with present conditions. You may be dealing with something 10,000 years in the future and it may seem futuristic as hell, but you're going to be dealing with modern issues. Okay? To make it relatable, for one, unless you write historical fiction, and two, you're writing from what you know. You don't know what it's going to be like 3,000 years from now.
Right.
You can only postulate, and you're postulating based on the world that you know. So anyway, and the reason why Mark Derry didn't know it because he didn't live our life. He's studying it. That's like somebody, I'm going to do a study of the martial arts, and they never did martial arts in their life. That study is going to be bullshit. It's based on what they think martial arts is, not what martial arts is. That can only honestly come from a martial artist. You can write about something and think you don't know what so you're just talking outside your neck, writing out the side of your neck. Okay, at least take a damn class before you write a book on the martial arts. Anyway, so it's like the same thing. Mark Derry could never take a class to make him black. So all he could do is look from the outside. I was taking this one time. People were talking about it in the comments, and he jumped his ass in the comments. Privileged white. I'm gonna jump in here. And I'm gonna, shut all this talk down. Like, man, get your ass. He just got bombarded with people tearing his ass up. Anyway,
Tariq Nasheed calls that I'm white, because I'm white and I say so.
Right, exactly.
That's right. The authority.
So, when he said that, what he doesn't, the reason why black people, one time, a sister on the panel with me said, blacks don't do science fiction and fantasy. I said, bullshit. I said, anybody here seen The Matrix? Raise your hand. Whole audience black, like 200 people. Everybody raise their hand. They seen The Matrix. Okay. Anybody? I'm naming different stuff. Movies. They've seen it.
Terminator.
Exactly. The reason why we don't read Black speculative fiction books is because for decades, until recently, they weren't putting us in the books except as savages, whether noble or not, and we weren't interested in that shit. We weren't seeing ourselves as a hero. So we weren't interested in it. That's why. Brother asked me one time, he said, man, I want to get your book. But man, for some reason, I'm not into science fiction and fantasy. When I told him why, he said, yeah, it is that we don't see ourselves. It's cool to watch the movie because we're only giving ourselves to that movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But a novel you could be in that for months. We ain't gonna spend months and we ain't seeing ourselves. We did that shit with Terminator because it's an hour and a half. Terminator was a month long. We ready to get the shit out of here. I ain't trying to do it.
Excuse me, Bob, but I think as a medium too, of course, the light sound box or the big screen on the wall that has the sound and vision is more compelling to people, so it's easier to draw.
It's easier. So,
right.
Because reading is a skill.
Exactly. And a habit that you have to build.
Reading is a skill. You have to build it up. You learn how to cut down the tree by cutting down the tree. You cannot learn how to read by looking at a goddamn article on the phone. People think that. You have to read a book. But that book, they ain't picking up nothing that's not appealing to you. If people came into my class, and I'm just talking, okay, do Sabu. Sabu is falls and roll. People be like, man, I ain't going back to that dude. I don't like that dude. It doesn't matter what my skill level is. I don't like that dude. Why don't you like him? I don't know. It's because I was talking like a damn robot. Had no fun. So you don't see yourself. That ain't fun. It ain't fun for me to watch somebody else be the hero. That ain't fun. So you want fun. Also,
Right.
Besides us not being in the book, they weren't putting us on the covers either. I wrote for this big steampunk anthology that did big numbers and Kickstarter, and they hired me to write one of my stories. It's supposed to be the best steampunk authors from around the world. And within that, I hinted at the name of the book. So anyway, and I was on the panel with one of the publishers and said this shit because it's true. All of the characters that were Asian or white, because they illustrated each protagonist for each story. There were like 20 stories in the book. All of the ones that were Asian or white, you see their faces. They're doing whatever, and you see their faces up front. All of the ones that were black. Now, if it was just me, you say, okay, that was the artist did that. There were like 9 of the 20 were black. They showed all of us our back. You saw our back. The reader sees our back. They don't see our faces. It's bullshit. This has been going on for decades. Then talking about the cover, they ain't doing it. When you see us in books, there have been comic books where the character was black for the first issue. Every issue on is a white man. And if you want, Lobo comic book. In that, the first Lobo, he's your complexion, be like. The second one, God damn it, he's Mark Derry's complexion, who I just talked about. That's how they've long done us until a change happening. We're gonna deal with that change. But what do you all think as far as the term Afrofuturism? Is that fitting for us? And I'll say what I think about it, after. But is Afrofuturism a fitting title for us? Even though it was created by a white man, does it fit? And if it doesn't, is there a better title to describe science fiction, fantasy?
I'm gonna go first because
written
I
by
believe I'm the least
black
educated on this.
Go ahead, please.
So I believe I'm the least educated on this, so I think I'm gonna go first. I think the funny thing is, to be totally honest, I'm gonna be totally honest. I wouldn't use the title. I think it fits. You can't use it because you can't use it because a white man coined it, and he can't coin your shit. You can't let somebody else. If a Chinese motherfucker be like, "Yo, what's that y'all doing?" I'm gonna call this shit hip hop. Be like, damn. Okay, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a name from somebody else that isn't in the culture. The name might have been great if you came up with it. I'd be like, that shit is hard, Mama. Damn. That's cool as shit. But so that's me being honest. It sounds like it fits. I wouldn't use it because, hey, man, if we can go all esoteric and talk about energy and all that shit, but the truth is, we didn't come up with it. You know what I'm saying? It isn't ours. It won't ever be. That's how I would feel. That's how I feel about it.
I can definitely agree with Belay. I don't want to be a contrarian with this, but we take a lot of terms from white people,
Whoop.
And I mean we use them all the time. So
I believe his language there is, but I ain't gonna talk about that.
So Afrofuturism, like he said, I think that it's fitting, but it would be great if there was another term, but I don't know what it should be. maybe someone who is actually like active with writing what is
the guy right
now
there,
called
this guy.
Afrofuturism
Right.
could over time work up another.
I say we should lie.
term
We
for
should
it.
do like they do and just let's say Baba made the shit up. Let's everybody just agree that Baba
No,
made
don't do
the
that, put that on me. Hell no. So, because I've written an article that was known. I've done several panels about it. I used to, me and Milton, to be honest, used to tear into the calling your work Afrofuturism, because they were and what bothered me is they were calling Octavia Butler's work Afrofuturism. I said Octavia Butler's work proceeded with Mark Derry's definition, and Octavia Butler is gone. For you to say it's Afrofuturism, you don't know what she would have, if she would have accepted that or not.
I think I was at that.
I'm sure you.
I think I was at that panel.
I think you were. So I'm like, don't do that. That's not fair to her, and it's not right. And then Milton said, well, what is Afrofuturism? People can define the shit. The shit ended up getting defined by us challenging, well, what is it? Because all they were doing was talking about, well, Afrofuturism, that's Parliament Funkadelic. That's Sun Ra. What do you mean? They existed before this term, so what do you mean? It's Parliament Funkadelic and Sun Ra. Huh? And it was the writers who were writing because they wanted to classify themselves as something. Now, we called our work Black Speculative Fiction, but that comes from a white woman.
Damn.
So we can't tell. If you call your work science fiction, that comes from a white man.
Right.
If you call yourself fantasy, epic fantasy, Sword and Soul comes from a black man, but if that ain't all you writing,
right?
Sword and Soul comes from Charles Saunders. But if you're trying to write epic fantasy, sword and sorcery that's not in Africa, so it's not Sword and Soul. If you're trying to write science fiction, slipstream, any of that, those are all terms by white people, so we can't really trip on that. You won't be able to name your shit. And to let you know, to name yourself, so the name in African, those are from Caucasians. To name, now Africa, the continent, doesn't come from Caucasians, obviously, but the name of the continent, we didn't call our job Africa. That's Greek or some shit, Latin or something. Right. So can't trip on it. I was, to be honest with you, tripping at first.
Hey,
and
learn.
Blacks, and I'm telling you, the blacks who picked it up was academia. And I was young. Academia loved to pull me in when I was really active writing science fiction and fantasy like that, which I'm getting back into now. I took a break because, to be honest, I just couldn't be around geeky white folks no more. That got to me, smiling in their face the whole time, and they would say little jabby ass shit, and I want to knock them out. That I couldn't take it no more, to the point where I would literally get physically ill when somebody would bring up science fiction fans. I think y'all may remember that when I got to take a break from it. I was getting sick. So anyway, and so I've gotten back into, I was writing the games to keep myself within that and to exercise my thought processes and stuff in science fiction and fantasy. But so, I still call mine Black Speculative Fiction, but academia, it hugged Afrofuturism. Oh, I loved it. Because I think Mark Derry may be a professor, and then other professors were writing articles and they needed a name for their stuff. So Afrofuturism was quick, it fit. It rolls off the tongue. And you say Afro, you think black. Futurism, you think in science fiction, right? And so Afrofuturism stuck. Even though I was tearing into that shit in every college they were bringing me to, at Jackson State, at Emory, at University of Chicago, everywhere. I was tearing into that shit. Spelman, Morehouse, Georgia State, University of Georgia. Everywhere I spoke, people love to hear me. And I'm like, I think they love to hear me because they know it's going to be controversial. And I'm going to bring it because you can define mine. I can defend myself and say it is or isn't Afrofuturism. Don't do that to Octavia Butler. Don't do that to Charles Sanders, who did not like the term, just so you all know. Don't do that to Charles Sanders. Don't do that to, now Samuel Delaney was one of the people that Mark Derry interviewed. Maybe you could, he's cool with it, I guess, right? So for me,
So maybe that's why we should come up with another term.
We should, but since we haven't, right now, I've accepted being called that. You don't really see me writing myself, but I've used the hashtag because every time you name your genre, anyway, it's a marketing tool.
Ayapo Yupa said,
marketing.
Theoretical Ebon fiction.
Yeah, I know, and I'm glad he names it that, but that's not, no. Black people, nobody gonna, I want some theoretical Eben so-and-so. So they're not.
It don't flow, yeah, boy. It don't flow.
I mean, you got to be real about that. I'm gonna be real.
Got to be black. Got to be slick.
And so because every name is really a marketing tool,
right?
We can't.
I mean, where does the word revolutionary come from? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
It's your mindset. It's the mindset that you use to approach what it is that you're doing.
Well, no, not completely. Because if it's your mindset, I can say, I'm a Weebly. And everybody, yeah, I am a Weebly. I mean, that is more than your mindset. Words have power. They build pictures in your head. What does a Weebly do? It don't do shit.
I don't know what an Ebon is.
So right. Eben, what picture does it build? That's another thing that's dealing with the marketing of it. So Afrofuturism, it flows, and Afro. I'm thinking black, because white folk, when they have Afro, that shit sucks because that's artificial. Right. So yeah. Afro, black, futurism into the future.
Right, that makes sense. And I'm looking at Ebon, I think Gibbon or Gibbon, which is that like raccoon squirrel animal. So it's like I'm getting animal, a theoretical animal that's not real. I don't really, you know what I mean? So anyway,
I think Ebony Jet magazine.
Ebony Jet,
and the Jet Beauty of the Week in the middle of it. That's what I think about. So
this is a good conversation to have, and even though we messing with you, hey, stick with it. Better than using the other folks shit.
Keep it in y'all for help. You like it,
Yeah, it's better than using the other folks shit. And like he said, real quick, the origin of the name Africa is still being debated, but nobody debating the origin of the name. We said where it came from.
Right, it didn't come from us.
We made the origin because some people say it was named after Afrikaners, but nobody said we didn't talk about none of that. Right. We just said where it come from. Is that yeah, you know what I mean? So anyway, next up, let's keep it moving.
Right.
But we feel what you said.
I ain't debating goddamn who my parents are, but where I come from. I came from Chi-Town. So, I came from Chi-Town. You say, you came from your mama's womb. Yeah, in Chi-Town. Right.
So, let me ask you this.
We just messing.
But as Amaniki, we're going to go with this. So, like you said, Atlanta's been characterized as Center for Afrofuturism. Can you talk a little bit about the local community of Black actors and producers, writers and publishers that do science fiction and fantasy, including superheroes? Do you feel like you're part of the movement? Now, Bob, I don't feel like we should even ask you this because you and Milton.
He did this question.
Right. He did half of it. He didn't do the other half as far as the Black actors and do you feel like you're part of the movement? He is the movement. You and Milton basically is the movement. So we ain't ask you if you feel like the movement. But let me ask you.
Do I feel like I'm part of the movement? And
can you talk a little bit about the local community of Black actors and producers?
Because I know y'all doing a lot of science fiction and fantasy movies. That's that superhero,
right. I mean, I don't feel like I can speak that intelligently about the community here in Atlanta of not specifically of Afrofuturism authors and producers. The only one who I really know well is Baba. And I know that he's produced some great work. I've seen him be behind the lens, when we've done different projects as far as film goes. So I mean, if we're looking at Baba, then it definitely has a bright future. But I can't speak to others that are doing that kind of work here. Yes, I feel like I'm part of the community. I feel like as a writer, I would really like to start to bring some things out that I have conceptualized as that are, sci-fi, and I'm not sure where the things that I think of would fall in here. I don't know if it's a speculative fiction or what, but I would like to do that in the future. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm part of the movement.
For me, again, yeah, I can't really speak on the Afrofuturism, but I will speak more to independent Black actors and producers and writers and publishers in that from that respect. Um, I do feel like I'm part of the movement. I think that is the funny thing about Atlanta is it gives you the feeling of let me put this the right way. Not the feeling, the look. Atlanta gives you the look of togetherness. You know what I'm saying? Because we're grouped, we're in the same place. Like we may all be in the West End. It may be, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody may be there one day, but we're all separate, compartmentalized, doing different things a lot of times. So I think in the next couple of years, like one of my goals is really going to be to pull together people. I can't wait to talk to y'all. This is funny because I haven't told either one of y'all, but I met a dude last night. Matter of fact, I'll tell y'all right now. I met a dude last night. This is a funny thing. This is about the networking thing. On the set of Family Feud, you never know who you're talking to. Just another Black man while they're giving us a ride back to our cars on a golf cart. A guy said, "Hey man, you got the look, man. Are you doing any acting and blah?" So I was like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm about to start filming my own. This company is going to be filming blah blah blah." So I'm telling them. And it's one guy in the back, he just listening. Finally, he's like, "Hey, man, man, I've been waiting to find somebody like you, bro. I've been asking people on every set, and people been like looking at me like I'm worrying them, but I knew I'd find somebody that." So I'm like, you run into crazy people on set, so I'm waiting to see what he's talking about. The dude has all the equipment to shoot camera equipment. Now, when I say all of it, he showed because I'm not believing him. So there's a conversation going on. I'm talking to the lady who do makeup because that's another connect. She does makeup for horror and zombie. I immediately thought of you. And I was like, okay, well, let me get her info. So I'm talking to her. He's in the conversation. Finally, he showed me his phone. He got the same crane I just seen in Family Feud in his bedroom. I don't know what he's doing in the bedroom with the crane. Don't ask me any questions. That's his business. That's not our business to ask that question. The point is, it was the same crane with the camera spinning around, remote, all of that. He's like, "Man, I've been looking for somebody to use the equipment with." He's like, "I ain't the best on the equipment. I got sound equipment. I just need somebody doing something. I couldn't find nobody. I finally found somebody." I was like, "You got the right. I got a bunch of folks looking for you." So I'm his manager, Bob. I'm going to be written out his equipment to you. I just want to tell you that first. But my point is, man, I think it's we all here, but to bridge that gap. Because I was talking to OD last night. Again, it's the guy that do the best music videos. He rents equipment. I need to hook him up with this guy so this guy can get some money, because we all need to live, to pay for that equipment. At the same time, let him know what we're trying to do so we can make him some money so we can put him in the network and start producing more. Because that's the goal, for us to get together, get a network of actors, producers, writers. And then when these people want content, like the people ask me for content, I can come to Bob and Bob, "What you got?" We go to this person, and you know what I'm saying? So long story short, I'm a part of it, and it's getting better and it's growing. So let me ask you, Bob, speaking of, we already talked about that. We talked about that, the term for science fiction. All right, everybody thinking of a term.
And you should think of a term. So if you can come up with a better term than Afrofuturism,
yeah, post it. This is an ongoing thing. Anytime, put that in the chat. So, has the representation of Black people in media changed, in your opinion, Bob? And we're speaking on our specific media. If so, has it changed for the better or for the worse?
Okay, has the representation of our people changed in media? Yeah, so we know there is this thing called the Black Panther effect, where because Black Panther, the movie, was so popular, so influential, that some people think they finally white people opened their hearts. The white moguls opened their hearts to us and welcomed us, and they now know they should represent us. Bullshit. They know that's a viable. We are a viable product. They can make tons of money because
new market.
The whole thing that went around. Erica Alexander, who was in the show Girlfriends, she was the lawyer on Girlfriends. She dated Maxine. Well, Erica is a friend of mine.
Oh no, yeah. Oh, you talking about Living Single?
Living Single, yes. Maxine. It's still Maxine. Yeah, Maxine.
Right.
Well, Erica said when her and her ex-husband, I think he is now, Tony Puryear. Sorry, y'all, if you're still together, but her husband at the time, they made a comic book together, and she was, shopping around and I guess trying to get movie deals for it and everything. And the producer said, black people don't do science fiction and fantasy. She said, don't do it. It's right here. We did it. Her and her husband. We did this. What do you mean we don't do science fiction and fantasy? And this is selling everywhere we go to black people. So they only stopped doing that because they thought we weren't a viable product in anything except comedy. You put us in a comedy, a couple in a comedy, you ain't showing a loving couple. Even today, they still have some problems with that. But you put us in a drama, we're causing drama. We're a thief or, something. Or the sassy girlfriend every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
It's genius part. The sassy girlfriend is the genius part, really. So
the mammy sassy girlfriend hybrid.
Right, exactly. That's all that was. So when sassy is another word for mammy. They just changed it because they knew mammy, we would protest that. So sassy. Well, once Black Panther with the popular, because to be honest, and I've told this before, when Black Panther they were in pre-production, they were hiring choreographers. A producer hit me up about being a choreographer, fight choreographer. I didn't write him back. My wife, to this day, when she hears about that, she'd be pissed off at me, right? That's a great opportunity. I said, because I've said it, I said it to y'all. Until Ash is sitting in the seats, I don't believe a Black Panther movie is going to be made. I didn't think they were going to do it. Because they had said originally, we can't do it. It's too expensive to make Wakanda. But you made Asgard. So people started just beating all the excuses down. They finally went ahead and gave it the green light. And then not just the green, because green light, you may have a green light and they'll make your movie for 20 years. But they pushed it ahead to get it done. So, and you saw the effects. Churches are renting cars to go. So people are into this if we see ourselves. It proved it, right? So churches were renting buses to take their congregation to see Black Panther. I even set up a panel, and that panel I've had panels where the places be packed, but this one, it was so packed, people had to be turned away, they couldn't get in from the Black Panthers to Black Panther. We did at 640 West, it was just from the front to the back, packed with folks into it. Then we did it again at Black Tasticon, packed, popular, right? This is how popular Black Panther, we talked about it and it was popular shit, right? So white folks say, okay, yeah, they're a viable product in science fiction and fantasy. So then you start bringing out Lovecraft Country, you bring out Watchmen, and you have Regina King really as the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, great. And then she becomes, and her husband is a god He's Mr. Manhattan, right? A god, really. And so you get that. You get. I just watched Resident Evil, the series that's out on Netflix, and it's blacks all through that. The main character, her sister, her daddy.
Never before.
All black. The main characters are black in Resident Evil. You ain't never seen that. Like I said, Lovecraft Country, which was written by a white person, by the way. That's a great book, and they did excellent with the screenplay was written by a black woman and directed by her. That was excellent. Excellent acting, everything, right? So you got that. You got many shows now that are coming out with us in it. I just got offered a writing gig for a film, science fiction fantasy film, yesterday. So all this stuff, the Woman King is coming out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But I think it was happening so fast and so rapidly that they slowed it down purposely by changing the whole movement and code vibe in Hollywood to the Asian thing. They made that a big thing to try to slow down.
Well, the Asian saw it, said shit.
Right. We tried to jump in. And they thought it would start a trend for them, but it went right back to us. They tried to change it. Let's focus on women. Let's focus on gays to get off of this black thing that's going so fast.
Let's keep it 100, man. Anything that's cool out here, that's different, it's gonna come from us, man. I mean, shit. And I'm not saying that cause I'm black, probably am, but it's been proven. The new cool shit, and it ain't new shit. It's the old shit, but it's new to the rest of the world. We've been known we fly, but the rest of the world would know and just take it. But now the rest of the world is seeing us do it.
So, and then social. I'm gonna tell you right, Bob. We always knew. People always knew we the coolest motherfuckers. Excuse my language, yes. But now it's like social media, TikTok, and all this stuff, and you see all the cool stuff. These regular black niggas doing all this cool stuff, all these dances, our young people. Everything is just so cool. The artists
and they
all these new artists.
They still stealing it from us though now.
But, oh no, that's what I'm getting at.
The whole thing is they were stealing it, and then they would put it out there like they did the shit. That's
what's happening on TikTok.
But when we come out, they say, "Oh, damn, this way it come from." And it's cool.
And you can tell.
It's cool.
Once we get there, you can tell it's the original.
Hey,
it's like African martial art.
Right, exactly. That too, yes. I got, in capoeira, I don't call it an African martial art because this comes from a capoeira contra maestre who should have been a maestre, a master, a long time ago. He told me that capoeira is 90% white throughout the world. And if you look at any, whether it's Angola, Haitian, all, it's white. He said, and the way they did that, they didn't do it like gentrifiers. They came in and took it. He said, in Brazil, they came over there and they were like, we'll fight you for your school. And Brazil, they've always been about banging. The Vale Tudos from there, let's throw down, let's see. And they took their schools. We ain't gonna just take the school, kick you out, but we want a place in this school. First, all those black instructors were like, no. He said this was like in the late 70s. They came through and just whooping ass with other martial arts. Because capoeira, they think about the dance and defending themselves. They got their asses handed to them. And these mugs took their shit. This is what, and so from the late 70s on, you start seeing just so many white people in capoeira classes. Well, when they banned capoeira in Brazil, these bastards banned it. You couldn't play the drums. You couldn't play none of the instruments that's in capoeira. The berimbau. You couldn't do capoeira. White rich folks were still going to them, white rich Brazilians, and going to those teachers and they training with them. And then they going back teaching their families and folks. So they were still getting it. So, you know, when they say, well, it's a Brazilian martial art, I don't fight that.
Euro-Brazilian.
I'm like, you're right. Yes, it's a Brazilian martial art. You're right. You're right. Anytime you're doing the martial art and all the names of the technique are Portuguese, all the songs are Portuguese. You telling me not one African song exists even in secret? All your shit. The popular song, everybody know it. Oh, see. Oh, nah. That's from Capoeira. That's yes. No. C. Nah. That's Portuguese.
Your art has been gentrified.
It's been gentrified. So shit, they've always done that. So that, you know, but now they've allowed us, because Hollywood's still there, y'all. They've allowed us to come out and do. We gotta take hold of stuff like, so writing, you can be independent, an independent writer. A lot of people still, you know, I want to go through the big publishers. That's their dream. I ain't killing their dream, do that, but know that that's not your shit. Now it's their shit. They control it. Same way when you're writing a film. If they buy it, that's their shit now. So when they make Harriet Tubman light skin, don't be complaining. Storm is an African. Aurora Monroe, she's an African, lived in Nigeria. Every time they make Storm a character in the movie, she light skinned.
Now that's another thing. I'm loving this trend when we doing our own biopsies and stuff like that, and doing our own, we making our own people darker. I'm loving that. I love the Eazy-E was darker than I love the Mike Tyson on this Hulu that he darker than what he really is. Fuck it.
But do your research too, because you know that show Raising Dion?
Right.
When they made
the
commercial, Raising Dion was a dark-skinned little boy. When they made the show, he was light-skinned. But I said, don't get mad, because people get mad in the State of Black Science Fiction group on Facebook. I said, don't get mad, because that was made by an Asian dude in the first place. And Dion in his comic book is light skinned. Don't get mad. They did the black character for the commercial to pump you up. But they never intended for him or his mama to be dark, when in the book they ain't dark. And it's made by this Asian dude. We didn't write that.
We're in a wonderful place right now where we have because of the internet, that we have the ability to put our projects out there for people. You know what I'm saying? We just have to do.
Yeah.
Now, Jamal, I said that, Jamal Nassis. I said the book Lovecraft Country was written by a white man. The show was written by a black woman. It's still based on the book. So let's keep that real on that. But it was a great show. My older sister ain't even into horror, and I put out, should I bring out the book? Well, these two different books I was bringing out, and one was, horror and that. And she said, "Yeah, bring that one out because Lovecraft Country was incredible." For my sister to say a horror show, my oldest to say a horror show is incredible, it was incredible because she raised her sons. They 40 and 39 now, but she raised them 40 and 41. She raised them not to look at no horror. She would take me to see horror movies as a young boy, but because you couldn't get into a horror movie without somebody 18, But she wasn't into them. But Lovecraft Country, she loved it.
I was also going to say, Baba, in addition to the Black Panther effect, I think that something that took place in the last couple of years has really affected the amount of representation of us on television and in films, and that was the protests surrounding the killing of George Floyd.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I mean, if you look at news shows now, like every pundit is black. They don't sound black. Like if the news is on and you're just washing dishes or something like that, and you look up, like every pundit that they bring on is black. To me, it's a combination of that and there being more commercials and more roles in television. To me, it comes from, it's like to them it's a form of reparations for us, or at least it'll be a way
That's
for
how they
them
that's how
to
they marketed it.
diffuse. Yeah, it'll be a way
After
for them
George
to
Floyd, that's how they marketed
diffuse
it.
those kinds of claims in the future. Like, oh, we included you, we started to, we became aware of this, and we started putting y'all on this and
You
that.
start doing Black Lives Matter highways.
Then do you all think it's a fad that after black people have been satiated, calmed down, that you calm the masses, do you think then they go back to business as usual?
I think they want to do that.
Right.
But I think the combination of this is recent news also, the abortion laws. Like, we know that ultimately the reason why these things are being done is because over time there's going to be less and less and less and less whites, and I think that right now they might try to make it into a fad, or at least until they, like I say, when they feel like they put out the reparations fire in the people who got fired up that wouldn't normally be thinking about that kind of thing. I think once they feel like they diffuse that and let that die down, then they will try to bring back the business as usual.
I think they already tried. I think when they started giving us stuff and it took off like wildfire, I think it was a systematic effort to put out this campaign about black people assaulting Asians all of a sudden to slow down that progress. I think all of this stuff was strategic to start focusing on hate crimes happening to trans people and start focusing on all these different things. And like I said, that's why Asians started moving all of a sudden in film. We came up with like 5 Asian films right then when that Asian hate campaign started. But the thing is, when they let us in, they didn't expect, they don't expect for the content to be so rich. They just expect, okay, we're gonna give them some space, but we put out projects that people actually started liking and loving. It changes stuff. So the money is all that count really to them. So they want to go back, but this money over here is real money over here. We thought it was a little something. No, there's big money over here, and you can't shut off the light that's been shined on on the talent. You know what I mean? So I just think that it was a fad, just like it was a fad, but it was a consciousness happening at the same time. I talked about it before, and you don't have that a lot. In the 90s, there was a fad, but it was also a real consciousness happening with the Malcolm X, the X hats, and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I think the fad is moving with the consciousness, and they can't control it.
There are certain people who will permanently be
right. There's people in the spot now. You can't take out that spot. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great thing. And yes, Denzel's son is a great actor. I saw that comment. Great actor. What are you working on now, boss? What's the projects, and what will you be working on?
Well, I'm working on 2 projects right now. One is the Ice Cold Carter novel. Working on that, and I'm working on about to add another project, film project. But I'm also working on the Ice Cold. Well, shit, 3 projects already, 3 or 4. I'm also working on the Ice Cold Carter RPG 2.0. And I'm working on Changa Safari RPG. So, and that's with Milton Davis. So we brought out the Kikanga RPG, bringing out the Changa Safari RPG, and then we're bringing out Kikanga 2.0, bringing that out as well, RPG. And Milton hit me up and said he would really like to publish a novel by me. So I've been working on I've got the first couple of chapters, and I've got the whole thing outlined. Sword and Soul novel.
Okay.
So doing that. Yeah, I'm doing a lot, but you know, I got a plan on how I'm going to release. I always have a plan on how I'm going to release stuff. Right? So this is July. I said at the end of this month I will bring out the Ice Cold Carter novel. I think it's actually going to be mid-August. I'll bring it out because I am doing a lot of projects. If I was just doing it, it'll be done already. But I'm bringing it out, and it's more involved than I thought it would be.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot more than I thought it was going to be. A lot more heart to it. Stuff. I'm sitting there like at one point getting teary-eyed, like, what the hell? This is supposed to be funny. I'm getting teary-eyed at this one scene. Like, no, I gotta rewrite it.
You talking about Ice Cold Carter, Baba?
Yes.
Oh shit! I like it. I like it.
The one thing I'll let you all know is Ice Cold and one of his best friends, Kimball, right? Kimball Spice. Spice, who's a big giant wrestler, right? They end up finding a certain thing that a lot of folks want, and they're willing to kill certain people for it. So, you know, there's a lot to it. It's not a simple revenge thing or nothing like that. I was going to go that way, and I said no, I want to just do that, right? Because I wanted meaningful. This Ice Cold Carter's first novel, and I was thinking, okay, if it's made into a movie, it's got to have heart too, you know. So it's funny. Ice Cold Carter, his regular arrogant self, of course, you know, and doing the crazy stuff. At one point, he's talking about fighting folks, you know. Well, what happens when you become a zombie ninja? He's like, you want to fight everybody. You want to fight, you know, mama, everybody. And he says, I don't want to break the fourth wall, but I want to fight y'all, the fourth reading. Yeah, you right there. I want to fight you. So Ice Cold Carter is still Ice Cold Carter, of course.
That's okay.
Somebody said, can I have the title of one of your books I can purchase today? Sure. It depends on, now, if you don't mind horror, I would say Beneath the Shining Jewel. That is probably one of my best works as far as fiction. If you want pure martial arts, pure action, with a little taste of romance in it. Fist of Africa. You know, so it's up to you. If you want Harriet Tubman whooping ass and basically as a superhero, Chronicles of Harriet. If you want the first book and first piece of fiction ever written that deals with what happened in Tulsa, because it was not Lovecraft Country. You know, I love Lovecraft Country. Get the Scythe. Scythe, the Scythe. Okay. If you want about Robert Charles fighting against.
She said she liked the horror. He said he liked the horror. You can find them all on Amazon too.
Yeah, you can find all of it. Get Gunsmoke Blues. Now, if you like horror, I would say get Beneath the Shining Jewel. It takes place in it's in our Kikonga world that me and Milton created. It's sword and soul, meaning like sword and sorcery. But I let my horror flag fly on that one. Are they available on Amazon? Yes. I'm slowly getting into horror. I had to go light. I hear that. What's that? I Manifesto. There's a promo code for an RPG. Oh, hold on. Shoot. Is it mine? Because if you get, that's going to be a hit. RPG, taking advantage of Black Power Media to promo.
Big Till asked all of us a question too. I think I'm going to let you talk. Let's answer the questions. He asked us which one is. Well, before we ask that.
No, go ahead.
Big Till. Oh, right. Oh, before we go into the question that she asked me.
They asked Big Till.
They asked. for you, what projects are you working on, writing, acting, and what will you be working on in the future?
In the near future, I started writing a screenplay. I don't really want to give the subject matter for it, but I started writing a screenplay that has a ancestral inspiration.
Oh yeah, I know this one.
No one knows this one.
I don't know this.
This is a secret. No, this is the one I wouldn't tell you about.
Oh wow.
And
Dang.
And I also have been working on a book of short stories for a while, so that's something that I plan to bring out in the future. I don't have months and dates like Baba, and I was realizing while he was saying that I really should. That
Now,
would
are
help
they
me
short stories like short in length, or are they short stories because you short?
both. It's funny that you mentioned that. One of the stories is about being short.
Oh, John, cool.
I'm just kidding. But and then I'm just working on trying to get myself more in the door of being on sets, meeting people on sets, and trying to move forward with doing independent things, because the screenplay that I'm writing, that would be something that I would want to produce myself. It's not. I don't think of writing things to really shop them out unless I wrote something that was specifically for Urugu, or there was just something I had to get out that I wrote that was very Urugu. Then I might try to shop that around. But I feel like the most things, I would say the majority of things, I feel like can be done independently. You just have to be creative, and you have to have commitment to good production value. But if you do that, then you can produce things yourself.
What about you?
Yeah, so I am wrapping up being a character named Paul on this movie based on a book written by a Black woman called Kendrick.
Octavia Butler.
Octavia Butler. Yeah, so Octavia Butler's book. Kendrick. Excuse me.
Kendrick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
yeah. So we're about to finish wrapping on that. As not a speaking role, I'm just gonna be doing action and stuff. So you may see me, but I won't be saying nothing. It's big. Well, anyway, you'll catch that. So I'm just finished wrapping that. In October, I'm going to start shooting the short that I wrote. That I said that we did the screenplay. So the short that I wrote, I'm gonna be shooting that, and I'm actually starring in that. It's me. It's basically just me. So it's another person, but they die in the first minute of and so the rest is all me, how I react to their death. So that's gonna be like my big debut acting, really doing some really hard acting stuff. So I'm excited to see.
So he's a star of a short film that's been winning all kinds of awards. So he's been modest on that. And so
yeah, I feel like it was almost luck. Like now I gotta really try, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be doing that in October, and I'm also about to finish a project, another short that me and Amaniki will be acting in. It's about a married woman dealing with communication issues, and I'll be like her brother in this short. So this is a short that we came up with, and hopefully after I film the one in October and pitch this to them, the one that we got, that'll be the next thing coming up. And that's pretty much it, besides the Ice Cold Carter stuff that we got in the works that's going to be coming up. That's pretty much it, besides the shorts that I also have a TV series that I'm writing, stories that I'm developing and such. One thing we need to be doing is if you got the ideas, you need to be writing them down, because when somebody comes to you, the first thing, when I pitched that story and they took it, the first thing they said after that was, "What else you got?" And it just so happens I didn't have any more shorts. Everything else was long TV series that they can't do. So if I would have had more of those short ideas, You know what I'm saying? That's when you're pitching, you want to have all your stuff in your head that you got. You know, you never know when that's going to happen. So, yep, that's what's going on for me.
Now,
We actually. What'd you say, Bob?
We said we were going to answer that question by Big Till.
Oh, right, all right.
They asked, which one does the warriors find mightier, the pen or the sword? I don't believe this to be a strict binary, but curious to see if there are overlaps. Anybody want to take that first?
That's exactly what I thought.
Sure, because I like to talk a lot. I'll say start first. I think that I prefer the sword. If you ask, that's not what you asked. Okay, I prefer the sword, but which one do you find mightiest? I think it's situational. I think the mighty is, it's situational. If I'm in corporate America, then my sword ain't got much strength than the pen does. But we're talking about just in general, the sword is always going to reign supreme over that pen. I can make the pen write what I want if I put the sword to the right neck. So in general, the sword always, in general, for me. I don't know how Bob will going to respond when he get to him because he's the authority on this, going to be the authority on it. But that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Let you go for that.
Okay. The sword is definitely mighty. The pen is mighty. I would say that the pen might translate into more situations that we find ourselves in now. I mean, our people are definitely they are definitely making war on our people right now. So it is definitely important for us to know how to defend ourselves. However, the pen can translate into so many other situations. The pen can change hearts, whereas the sword, you can force, like you said, you can force someone to do what it is that you want them to do, but the pen can actually change minds. And that's really what we need as far as our people, because so many of us are consumed with this life that's been set up for us here. The convincing comes with explanation and research, and all of that comes with the pen. So I'll just pick the pen because Bele picked the sword.
The pen and the sword are mighty both. You can always tell when something's mightier because less people can wield it.
Ooh.
There are more people wielding a pen. Not necessarily effectively, but there are more people wielding a sword. Okay? But
I didn't think about that.
As much as a pen can write policy and do all that, it's only effective when you're writing policy if it's backed by the sword. You need to know that. Everybody needs to know that, because when you see these people out here, these politicians doing such and such, and writing these things and into law and doing all of that, behind the scenes, the sword is always there, and people know it who are in that realm. So they know there are times when certain policies need to go through, and people not doing it. They get a knock at the door. That's what, when me and Milton did Angola, that's what it was about. Basically, taking it to an extreme where if people are filibustering or they're not deciding on a policy or whatever, assassins, you can get a contract put on your back. They deliver it to your house. You're gonna be dead if you don't make this decision, right? So, not saying it's to that level, but the sword is always behind that. Yes, and the pen can change minds now. It can change hearts. So can the sword. If I walk into a place and dudes bullying women, I do so and so. I walk into the place and pull that sword out. If anybody say another word ill word to these women, well, I tap the sword on the scabbard, right? Guarantee you, I just change minds and hearts. Guaranteed. So the sword and the pen can change minds. They can change it. You can take what's on I can write this thing, damn it, this, and put it on paper. And you can tear that up in my face. I pull that sword out, you're not going to just knock that out of my hand or bend it in my face.
You pull the sword out and say, pick that piece of paper up. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to tear it up.
So there's an old dude, just so you know, there's an old dude that talks about, and it's dealing with this exact thing, where it talks about this king and this Balogun. Balogun just war chief. That's my title, it's not my name. So it ain't like I put myself in this story. It's this king and this Balogun who are best friends. They cool, and one day, and they both was using the pen. One day, the king gets a letter from the Balogun and says, I'm giving you a couple of months to get your affairs in order, get your stuff out the palace. I'm taking the palace. It's mine. So the king writing back, man, you funny, joking like this. So, only you would joke with a king like this. He writes back, I'm not playing. If you aren't out in a month, I'm coming to take the palace. So the king writes back, it's the pen. Are you really serious? We're friends. War chief writes back, we can still be friends after I take the palace. You just be my friend that lives outside the palace. I've been living outside the palace all these decades. Now it's your turn, because I'm taking the palace. And he said, I won't allow you. The war chief said, I have an army of 100,000. How many armies you got? That's his army. The king thought that was his army. It's never your army. It's who's running it. He said, I got an army of 100,000. What do you have? And the king said, oh God. So the king gets divination. How can I defeat this war chief? The boss said, you can't. The boss says, you can't. You can't defeat the war chief. You're going to lose. Except you got to stand against him, though. And he will lose to one person who you have always looked down on and never thought. They will amount to much. The king, and he would do this dance of death, basically, and then armies would drop. All this is symbolic. So the armies riding towards the people. The people, just the regular citizens, are together. He said, the king said, stand strong. He said, we're gonna defeat them. They're like, well, how? This man has never been defeated. They riding hard at him. They stop, and the war chief says, I'm giving you this chance to come out the palace, give it up, or we ride in and we kill everybody. And our families will now populate the palace, inside the palace walls. Because they don't allow warriors, at least the Yoruba didn't allow warriors to live in the palace walls. Because they were too dangerous, they could take over. So they said, no, the king said, no, we're going to stand against you. Where's this one little boy? All he did all day was just knocking down fruit with his sling, knocking down fruit with his sling. And this white folks steal stories from us. David and Goliath, the sling. So the war chief, okay, this is it. We're about to ride in on you. Little boy from the back, 13. Boom! Hits the war chief in the head with the damn sling bullet. Right? War chief falls off his horse, starts shaking, convulsing, because he got brain damage now, but he's convulsing. So everybody, oh no, we're about to die. He's doing that dance of death. We're about to die. Right. They said, wait a minute. He ain't got no power. He didn't kill us with his dance of death. And the people fight, and they end up winning against, and most of the war chief people, they thought he was doing the dance of death too. Most of them rolled out like, shit, his dance of death don't work no more. This king is powerful. The ones that remained got beat down. So the pen had the strength, but the pen was shook when the sword came. It's telling you that story. The pen was shook when the sword came, and it's not the pen that ever defeated the Balogun. It was still the sword, really, the sling.
Right.
Based talking about, warfare, weapons, fighting back. It was the fighting back. We would never get our freedom with no pen.
That's what people need to understand. Nobody has ever gotten free without bloodshed.
Exactly. You're never gonna get no freedom without no pen.
I don't care what your status is.
Right.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of people, right? So anyway, so somebody said, funny, I've seen movies of kings falling. This is popular plot. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I forgot the saying is the pen is mightier than the sword. Like, that's the saying. But who's saying it?
And we don't know the whole saying. So like a lot of people like quoting this. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's not the whole statement, y'all. That allows the teacher to be a big I and you a little you. The statement is, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And when the teacher is ready, the student appears. It's letting you know that the student and the teacher are on equal footing because you don't exist as a teacher without students. And students have to learn from their teacher. You're equals. I do not take myself as a big I and they little U's over my students. If I did that, we couldn't even have this show. We didn't have this show.
Hey, man, I see people really still debating the pen thing. It's funny. You can believe what you want. I just started thinking about, so if police officers only had pens and they didn't have the guns,
right?
You mean to tell me they're gonna write you a ticket? You go into court for what? Who's gonna make me go well? Do
or
what?
If they had just a pen and not them guns or sticks, they gonna be beating your ass.
Right? They're gonna make you do what? What?
Right.
Come on, man. In that courtroom, can you imagine me even sitting up in there and nobody got no pistols and nothing on them?
And people know
how much.
When people stand against the police, they say, man, put down that goddamn bag and gun. I'll whoop that ass. They say, put down that goddamn pen and I get with you.
They know they can still get charged. They can still get the paperwork on them. They don't care about it. They can just think about it, y'all. I'm just saying. Right. I know we've been told the pen is very mighty, and it is. We're not discrediting the strength of it, the power and situational. But, warriors don't think like everybody else. Meaning a warrior may pull his sword out when you don't think it's conventional and don't think the sword can come out at that time. So you think your pen is powerful because you wouldn't pull your sword out at that time. I might pull mine out. You see what I'm saying? And so I think it's just a perception, how you perceiving this argument. I'll leave it there.
And for those who have a spouse, somebody is threatening your spouse, you say, damn it, leave her alone, I'm gonna write you a nasty letter. See how your spouse responds to you after that. I'm just messing with y'all, man. Hey, if your position is to lean on the pen as what you want, lean on the pen, and I lean on the sword, it's okay. I bet your pen break before my sword, but hey, we can both get some shit done.
If it makes you feel better, Baba keeps pens on him at all times.
All times. So the pen can be mighty in different ways.
Yeah, please learn to use that pen as a sword, and it can be mighty like you need it to be.
In Belay's hand is the pen, the marker, right? So it can be mighty now. So we ain't tripping. All right, so I think we also have to define the term might. I might do that next episode, but right now we're about to.
We might.
Because we've been here. How long we been on here? 2 hours, 13 minutes.
Yeah, it's time to go. We warriors, man. We don't think like everybody else. We sorry. We think a little different. We're not saying you're wrong. We kind of in our own. Yeah, that's
and take what you have, take what we have, combine it. In your own thinking. Y'all know how to do it. I think all tools have their purpose in their place. Yes, they do, Iapo.
Indeed.
All right, thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Stay black or whatever it is you may be. We hope we answered some of your questions, and we look forward to maybe in the next 2-3 weeks having Milton back on. Next week, we're going to try to have do some things with knife defense because we've been asked that. We were going to do it this week, but my back is jacked up. They've seen the pictures of my back. If you haven't seen them, all you got to do is go to that text I sent y'all. It don't look pretty.
Father, isn't the convention next week?
The convention is this week, but I think I got a writer. I really don't have I don't know if you know. I've been stretching the whole time we're on here to make it through here. I don't see myself being able to do a demo, a martial art demo right now. I could. It'd be boring as shit. They'd be like, man, this stuff sucks. Like, man. So I don't, unless y'all just did the demo, but I don't even think I can sit on the panel. And I'm not going to embarrass us like that. I don't say embarrass, but we're dealing with going there as representing the African Martial Arts Institute, and I'm looking hurt, not as strong as I should be. I don't want to do that. So, hopefully my back gets back. I'll let you all. I'll let that secret come. In a few months, y'all gonna learn something else.
You understand why a correlation with his back being messed up?
No.
I put it all together.
But blessings are coming for us all. Okay.
You both.
So thank y'all. Love y'all. Stay black, whatever it is you may be. Peace.
Peace. Much love. Great.